Yo, what's good? What's good? Welcome to the Epic Entertainment Critics. I am Antoine,
And I'm still James.
and we're here to bring you an epic podcast today. We got a few things to discuss. We're gonna do our retro movie review. We're gonna do Green Lantern, the 2011 Green Lantern, and we're also gonna do a couple of TV shows. We're gonna do the Cobra Kai season 2. And a couple other shows. But before we do that, we got intro. All right, we back. So, Green Lantern 2011. The Green Lateran, starring Ryan Reynolds. Yay!
Yeah.
Playing Hal Jordan version of the Green Lantern. So we went back and we watched it. Haven't seen this movie in I ain't think I've seen this movie since it came out, dog, since 2011.
I didn't see it until I think a year after it had come out or something
Really?
like that.
I went to the movies. But I was made a note to go to movies to every superhero movie, even if I was too interested. I never was a Green Lantern fan. I don't know too many people that were, but I've been hearing about a lot of fans coming out the woodwork talking about Green Lantern.
I was never a fan of this particular Green Lantern.
Oh, Hal Jordan.
Yeah.
I
mean, I was when I was reading comics, it was Kyle Rayner was the Green Lantern.
Yeah, a later version.
Yeah. So I had kind of missed Hal Jordan, and I had to go back and read him, and he's all right in the comics, but
Right.
I wasn't clamoring for him to get his own movie.
Well, I mean, and then me growing up with watching Super Friends, I don't think Green Lantern. They didn't show Green Lantern wasn't one of the Super Friends, but he was on Justice League, the animated series in the '90s. But it was John Stewart, so I wasn't too familiar with
Right.
Hal Jordan or whatever. Like, I didn't know about his personality. Was he like silly? Was he funny? You know,
I would
was
have
he serious?
I would have never cast Ryan Reynolds as Hal Jordan. I could have seen him as, Kyle Rayner, who's a little more, lighthearted.
Yeah.
Because Hal Jordan, despite being, Hal Jordan was basically, he was Tom Cruise from Top Gun. That was his character.
Right.
So, he could joke around, but he was just really intense about everything.
Right. And I saw a little bit in there. They tried to do that with him, but I feel like they didn't really get that common ground with him. Where is he supposed to be intense? Is he supposed to be funny? And that's the problem when you cast Ryan Reynolds, because he always throw his little jokey kind of sarcasm character with him. Where he did on Blade Trinity, which we're gonna end up doing. His Hannibal King was just like pretty much Deadpool.
Yeah. And it's like, if you can't cast Ryan Reynolds and not expect to get that. It doesn't matter how you write the character. If you cast him, that's about what you're gonna get.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't understand. I don't know if it was just who's big right now? This Ryan Reynolds kid. It's like I said, he's not who I was.
Yeah, and then they've been trying to make him to a superhero, especially ever since he got so jacked.
Yeah.
Because I remember, what's that scary movie he did? He did Amityville.
Yeah.
He did like 90% of that movie with his shirt off, just to show you, look, this is what my body looking like. Marvel, what's up?
Well, I guess he's not just Van Wilder anymore. Let's get him a film. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think, it was a matter of what superhero he was going to play, you know what I'm saying? I feel like. And, so they got him as Hal Jordan, and he put his own little jokey kind of like spin on it or whatever. I didn't particularly have a problem with that because, like I said, I didn't really know Hal Jordan.
Right.
And I'm going to tell you my overall thoughts on this movie when I seen it. I was like, I'm not a Green Lantern fan, but I was like, Green Lantern fans, like, they didn't like this movie. And I was like, well, what do you want? And the reason why I said that is because I'm like, ain't this the story? I mean, now we could talk about technically what went wrong, but I'm thinking like, narratively, ain't this the story?
So this was my problem watching this movie. Was I'm like, okay, that's correct. That's correct.
Yeah.
it's just, God, this is a boring story.
But and then it's like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. We ain't even got no for real funny clips to show. Where we always usually doing these reviews, we have funny clips where we just
Like,
joke about and
like,
make fun of.
Look at how ridiculous is that they did that, or can you believe they thought that was okay?
Yeah,
Like the only like real like gripe I have against this movie, as far as like anything that they did quote unquote wrong, is probably making the suit CG.
yeah. That's the only gripe. I got a few, but
like
I got you.
Like as far as like things that I absolutely say, why would you do that?
Yeah.
It's like there's some stuff in this movie that's just plain not good.
Yeah,
but I get why it's there.
It's having the suit CG is such a waste of money. Matter of fact, for real, didn't need it.
Right.
But what I would say, I think they did before Marvel, they went kind of like cosmic. Like now, that's what kind of surprised me. Like I went back and watched it, and I know this predated Guardians of the Galaxy, but they went there first in DC, and I'm like, they basically went out of space, and this is what I did like. They didn't sit back and explain why is all this possible. They just threw you into it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like and it's kind of uneven because at one point they grounded in reality, and then next thing you know, it's space. Aliens exist. Other worlds exist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like at what point are we in reality? Or are we far out and nobody knows none of this exists?
Right.
You know?
You know, it's like the first time you find out that aliens exist watching Green Lantern, there's a purple dude lying bleeding.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
Like,
The first time them on Earth find out they
Yeah.
exist, you know?
Yeah. You know, so it's like, well, okay, I guess aliens. Oh, wow, there's lots of aliens.
And they wasn't too.
They're space cops.
Yeah, it's like I know they was impressed, but they didn't act like this was like something new.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
No,
but this was supposed to
not
be
at all.
something new.
You know, it's like, it's such a weird thing. It's kind of like watching, you know, any Spider-Man movie. It's like, there's lizard people. Well, damn, I guess we should clear the street or something. No, but there's lizard people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's New York. What you expect. You know, it's that same kind of feeling. You know.
Yeah, and so like I'm like, okay, they just kind of gonna go there. And then there's another thing when they like in space, they it's not like they in the atmosphere. It's like they on the moon or something.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Because it makes it a little weird just looking at it. You
Yeah,
know?
but I don't want to cut you
Go
off,
ahead.
but they kind of did the same thing in Guardians of the Galaxy, and everybody forgave it.
Yeah.
So are we mad? Because
Well,
they kind of did it first. Because when they just basically got Thanos sitting in space in a chair, in a chair. You know what I'm saying? Well, you know, and it's to a point where we was like, we forgave it there because of the movie. I guess probably because the movie, the tone of the movie was more comical.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like they dared to do it first.
Well,
you
I mean,
know,
with the Marvel movies, they also get away with it a little bit because whenever they do those scenes, it's always an action set piece or it's a brief little glimpse at something and then you're done with it. And every time they actually have to show anything, you're back on the planet with an atmosphere or you're in a ship or something.
Yeah.
And so with this, it's just like, so we're about to start this training montage here, and no, there's no sky.
Right. It's kind of like they just like in space.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But I kind of give them credit though for not over explaining this world. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Where the movie was boring, but they had the right idea. They just didn't follow through with it good. You know, my opinion. Where I felt the right idea was we don't have to over explain this outer space, the Guardians and all the other stuff. They kind of gave you kind of a quick look. Hey, these guys make these guys are the Guardians. They make this thing called the Ring. Everybody got a sector. Go. You know what I'm saying?
Well, like, because they kind of handle all of the outer space stuff in a like it's like suddenly you're a cop. It's like, okay, there's your badge. You've been chosen. You got this sector of space. You know how to use that thing? Hey, show him how to use this thing. You're good.
Yeah.
You know, they don't
Right.
let you. They don't give you that whole, you know, so many eons ago.
I know. and you know, like I said, I was cool, and then they just introduced the characters, and we kind of just had to hit the ground running with Sinestro and all them. And then so let's talk narratively. So the movie It's about Hal Jordan, which is your standard hero, 30-year-old white guy in shape.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
which I was. And then when I watched this, they had like a lot of cliches for as the female and the way everything was. You can't do it, but he can. That's kind of how they was.
Yeah.
Like, which I'm like, okay, yeah, which is probably from the comics or whatever, but you got Hal Jordan's a test pilot, and he's which is the story, and they have the ring chooses him, and this is kind of funny. I thought that the ring comes off the dude's finger and flies to who it is.
Yeah.
No, they literally bring you to the ring. Did it go like that in the comics?
So in the comics, he happened to be in the area.
Right, that's what I'm
When
saying.
the pod crashes, he goes over to investigate, and then the ring floats off of one dude's finger and says, "You have the power to overcome great fear. You're Green Lantern now."
And which is kind of messed up when you think about it, because you don't get no kind of choice.
No.
This dude literally was just minding his own business in a green bubble, picked him up and took him across. Luckily, he was in the right. How far was this?
I mean, it was. It looked like it had to be at least 3 miles.
Yeah, which is kind of a little coincidence, but wherever the crash site was, and he just he had nothing to do with it,
Like,
living his life, and this thing just picked him up and took. Why him?
It's like he's just outside. Like, wait, no.
Yeah, I mean anybody that part where it was totally not his fault. He had nothing to do with nothing.
Yeah.
Usually it don't happen like that in movies. It's not always. It'd be an accident, but it'd be something that they caused, or you know what I'm saying. They had some reason that this happened. Was from them or whatever. No, he totally was just minding his own business, and that ring just picked him up and brought him to the ring.
Because it's okay to say Hal Jordan out of everyone got picked by the ring. Well, he was the guy who was there. No. You know who should be here right now is you, Hal Jordan. Come on down.
Yeah, and then the fact is, can he say no?
No.
That's the problem.
How's he supposed to say no? A green energy field.
I'll say no.
It's like, now me, I'd have. Nope.
Well, I mean,
So the way they make it out in the comics, and they probably would have done if they did this in the movie, is like once it chooses you, it will stick to you until you.
yeah, I guess. I mean, and that was cool. The way, but it just blew my mind.
Because in the comics, those things will chase you.
It just blew my mind that you literally just minding your own business, and it just pick you up and take you out. Don't care about your life.
Yeah. Because in the comics, there's a scene, there's a comic where Supergirl becomes a Red Lantern, and she's like, "Nah, I'm cool." Throws that motherfucker, just yeets it halfway across the solar system.
And it come
it
back.
says, "Nah, you're a Red Lantern." The only person who's ever avoided becoming a lantern of any kind is one of the Flashes outran a ring.
Okay, so let's talk about the villain, the conflict of the story. This is where it really became. I had more of the problem.
Yeah.
Is it Parallax?
Parallax.
Yeah, Parallax was the worst choice of villain. I ain't gonna say worst choice, but it was a bad choice. I think that's where they really messed up on that movie. It was better off just being Hector Hammond and Sinestro, I believe. Only because this big floating thing, that messed your movie up.
Yeah.
Big time. Just floating around, killing people. And it was so funny where Parallax is, I don't know, was he a guardian at one point, but he was like a big floating like a spirit, what they call them things that float like that, specter or whatever.
Yeah.
But that wasn't what he was, but this would remind me of. And he floating around, just killing everything in his path or whatever. So they had the scene where Sinestro was like, I want to take all my best lanterns and go and meet this thing head up. They was like, yeah, go ahead, go, man. You going to get your ass whooped, but go ahead. So, they get there, man, they that was your best? They put up the weakest fight ever. That made me so mad. I was like, first of all, Green Lantern ain't an action-based superhero because his constructs always Okay, let's explain what Green Lantern is. His power. He got a power. It's called the will.
So
you can do that better.
Yeah. So the Green Lantern has what certainly used to be, and sometimes they still call it that, a power ring. It channels energy from an emotional spectrum, and Green Lanterns use even though it isn't, the emotion of will. So all their power is defined by how much willpower they've got. That anything they come up with, they can create an energy construct out of the energy in their rings.
Yeah, and they make things like you can just imagine something and you can make it.
Yeah,
like you can think of a gun, you can think of boxing glove,
like
a big fist. That's his go-to, a big fist.
I think at one point one of the different Green Lanterns in the comics, who, unless my memory is failing me, was a living math equation. Comics.
I just always, man, every time they make a construct, it's always just something stupid.
But like one of them made a perpetual motion machine out of his, and then you go to like the Green Lanterns we actually get comic books out of. It's like, I'm gonna make a helicopter or a boxing glove.
It's like, I need to hit that target. Let me make a bow and arrow. Oh, I forgot. I don't know how to shoot a bow and arrow. Man, just make a gun, dumbass.
Or just shoot an energy blast. You can do that.
Yeah, or whatever. But they always just make something stupid.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's kind of like where the action come in and where they start to. And I really like that scene. I'm gonna show a little clip from that. But I really like the scene where they always got this. And this is an origin story, and they always got them. They always got either a montage or a scene where they learning their power and they having a little fun with it or whatever. So this scene came in. I don't remember how long the movie been on, but it came in after the movie been going on, and it's been kind of boring. But this scene I liked, and we got this curtain and Kilowog, which is basically
Sergeant.
They were right, drill sergeant. Always got a tough guy to group. He got the tough guy to group, and he's kind of like training to how just. I like the scene, but it's so short. There's like, really, this is training. So I got a little bit of this. So I'm gonna, if I don't get copyright.
You gotta commit to the core. All right, Boozer. Let's see what you got. Your constructs are only gonna be as strong as your will, and your will is pathetic.
All right, I'll just stop it there because can't never get for real no more than 30 seconds.
Right.
But yeah, that's just kind of a little scene where he's going through training or whatever. I like that scene because I like the action and the sound effects and the special effects. It looks cool, you know. That scene was only like about 5 minutes, and then it went back to the storyline.
Right. You know, like I will say one thing. It's like, I hate now that when I watch these scenes, I can't stop myself from imagining what it looks like when they're filming it. Mm-hmm. Like, it's him in a suit, just pantomiming in an empty room.
So you still on the
no, yeah, because like now my brain won't not like.
But you know something? Let me tell you something. Everything they used, all the technology they used in this movie, was the beginning of all the technology they use in all these superhero movies.
But like this isn't a gripe or anything. It's like now the way my brain works, I can't not peel away all of the CG and all that.
I got you. It's some bad choices.
To see what it looks like in filming. I'm like, he might have another actor there he's playing against just for his shots.
Right.
But it's just him in an empty room. And so like I look at that and I do have to say, before like a couple of years before this movie came out, like about 5 to 8 years, that wasn't a thing. You know, and I understand how they fell into the trap of this movie. Like, we can CG this, and we can CG that, and we can CG that. I'm like, I know why it happened. I just wish it hadn't have.
Right, but I'm telling you, like, this was kind of the beginning stages of how they was going to make all these superhero movies. A lot of people didn't like this movie, but they also, with the CG suit, that's how Iron Man is filmed. You know,
it works.
he's wearing that whatever their mocap suit or
Yeah.
whatever, and they just put the CG suit on them.
Yeah.
And a lot of characters in Marvel probably would. Well, I got a lot of real characters,
Well,
but
like
they got
like,
some.
looking at this movie,
But the
I
whole back, they do a whole
Yeah.
blue
I
green
don't
screen
know-
background.
I don't know if Endgame could have existed without this movie existing.
Yeah.
At least not when it came out.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I give this movie actually a lot of credit for being the first to come up with the way to make these.
Yeah.
It's just narratively, it was.
It's a weak film,
Yeah.
but as far as the techniques they utilize,
It's real good. I like the
they-
techniques.
The techniques are well utilized. That's actually one of the more disappointing things about this movie. The techniques are well utilized. The movie didn't deserve them.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as say that. I would just say it was every time when you first starting something, the first one might not be as good.
I mean, yeah.
where you can
I mean,
find out what they did wrong.
Because if this had been a
And-
good movie, we could have gotten more Mark Strong as Sinestro.
Right, and I feel like I like this universe if they would have kept going with it.
Yeah.
But the movie itself, with the villain being Parallax, let me ask you this: the fact that they went so all the way, it's more fantasy almost, but they went straight from the comics with this movie, where they didn't try to make it more, where they had changed tights to leather.
Yeah.
When they changed stuff just to make it more in line with our reality now.
Right.
They just kind of gave you a straight up comic reality.
True.
Or are you mad at that because that's what people been asking for and they
No.
gave it to you and everybody's mad?
I'm not mad at it. I wasn't mad at it when it came out. The only thing I was mad at was that the movie wasn't better written. Because
Agreed.
it's not a well written movie. I don't think anyone's going to be arguing that anytime soon.
Yeah.
So if you look at the motivations of the characters, why is Hal Jordan going to save the world? Because a ring snatched him up off the street one day, and no one told him he could quit.
Yeah. I know. I mean, well, then he was like, I'm cool on this, but then they was like, well, he about to come to your planet and
like,
blow it up.
Look, you know
Oh,
what?
well, I guess I got to do it.
It's like, you know what? Fine. We hear you now. We ain't gonna make you become one of our space cops. By the way, this thing is about to eat your planet. So be nice if they had a space cop, huh?
Yeah. Not just. What's his name? Let's talk about Hector Hammond.
Hector Hammond.
And when the actor, you know the actor who played him?
No.
Peter Sarsgaard. I looked him up.
Yeah.
And I was like, did they choose him because his head is huge already? I looked the character up. I was like, okay, so he got an enormous head.
Yeah.
And
What is it? Mastermind?
what?
The character from the comics.
No, it's Hector Hammond.
No, didn't he have like
They just went by his name, Hector
okay.
Hammond.
I thought he had
Another
name
handle?
Yeah.
But no, he's Hector Hammond, and he was one of the Green Lantern's earliest villains. Like his first appearance, like in '62.
Yeah.
So he was one of his earliest villains, where he, wanted to steal the ring. Where it's kind of in line. It's actually in line with the redone version of him. Where his original version, he still had the big head and telekinesis and all that stuff. But they had like a different way for him to get his power. It still was the yellow power got in him or whatever. But when I saw the dude head before he got infected,
It's already noticeably
it's
large.
huge.
Yeah.
I was like, did they choose him because he just got a big ass head? And I was like, that's cool, but
Like it makes it that like in a weird way it makes it more jarring because like you already the second he's on scene you can't not look at that 5 head. Yeah.
yeah, it's so big, and I'm like, that's his real head, right? Unless did they add a little bit to it? So I'm like, okay, if we're gonna use a special effects to make his head big, we don't have to get somebody with a big ass head.
Because like then after they make it even bigger, I'm like, how is he still walking?
So I was gonna talk to a little bit about once he became Green Lantern, which this is an origin story. So he didn't really first he rejected it, and then he just kept popping up with it. It was kind of stupid. But they gave us this action scene, which I'm sure that a lot of people was like,
Bring up.
a lot of people kind of like got pissed off about this. Well, not really pissed off, but it kind of made it kind of lame. Hold on, I'm gonna show you a little bit of it, and I'm gonna show it before I before I tell you what it is. So you'll be like, what the hell? So
I think I know.
I know you know,
Yeah.
but the people.
That was realistic.
All right, so look, dude made a Hot Wheel track.
Yeah. Yep. That's exactly what
That's
he
the
did.
thing about his powers. It's cool, but it's like they always make lame shit. Why he just didn't lift the goddamn thing up
Nope.
and keep it
Nope.
holding in the air?
Nope.
You know what I'm saying? What you have to make a Hot Wheel track, you have to make it. You made it a hot ride.
Because he's a child. That's why. It's because they knew they were making Green Lantern, and then they knew that they were casting Ryan Reynolds. Like, oh, he's just a child.
And you made it a hot. Why would you go through all that?
Like,
you could levitate the helicopter so it
Yeah.
won't hurt nobody.
yeah.
But no, you made it a hot. You made it a Hot Wheel, and when it kept moving, you put it on the Hot Wheel track.
Like
Stuff like that make people like, really?
Wait, look, because like, it's one thing the way they line it up in the comics, you know, because ain't nobody gonna draw nothing that they can't draw, right? Fine. But then you take it into live action, you model all this on the computer, and you can make anything you want. And then you say, our character is not going to be able to come up with anything other than a Hot Wheels.
Well, I mean,
Like, because the thing is, if you're a fan of Hal Jordan, this is going to piss you off.
yeah. I don't know if
If you
Hal
think
Jordan
that-
would do something like this, but this
Like,
is
because
something that
he could be fairly rudimentary, but like, I can't imagine him like. Because his thing would have been like, you know, a parachute or a giant cushion or a big hand.
I know that's kind of, you know what, and I'm not gonna be too mad at them because that's the kind of stuff he'll make.
Yeah.
Stupid stuff.
But like, but that's the thing is like, this is stupid, but it's
Like
complex.
a big hand. You know what I'm saying?
But like, and that's the thing though. Like, this is something Kyle Rayner would have done.
Yeah.
It's not something Hal Jordan would have done. Like, he would
But
not
my
have done.
whole thing is, why make a Hot Wheel when you can just levitate the damn chopper anyway?
Probably product placement.
I know. I'm just saying. just like you would ask that question after fact. Like,
Yeah.
wait a minute, why you just didn't levitate?
Well, like, even when he gets back to the apartment, Taika's like, a Hot Wheels?
yeah. Anyway, stuff like that probably make people say, like. But see, that's a lot of people that didn't know the character,
Yeah.
know or don't know the comic. That's kind of stuff they did.
True.
You know what I'm saying? It just, I think this particular comic wasn't ready to become a movie yet.
Yeah.
Now it might be ready because now people see more fantasy in the comic world. You know, after Guardians of the Galaxy, you know, that put Marvel on a whole new anything possible level. You know what I'm saying?
Well, because I think one of the best things DC has done recently is that they've decided if we're gonna make Green Lantern stuff, we don't have to tie ourselves down to the main the main Earth lanterns.
yeah.
You know, it's like the Lantern Corps is, you know, across the universe. We can do whatever the hell we want with these guys. You know, we just need something with a green power ring, and we've got a Green Lantern property. So it's like the cartoon they made a few years back. It was just, we'll do whichever Green Lanterns we want. It doesn't have to be, Hal Jordan doesn't have to be in every episode, you know, so we're going to make some of our own characters, have them do the thing. So you're not bound to, this is the character people know and they know him like this. You know?
Yeah, but the creator wanted to make a comic accurate kind of movie.
True.
And you know what? Like you said earlier, technically this was kind of a good movie technically.
Yeah.
And a lot of the techniques they use in this movie is used in future movies. It's just narratively it didn't work. But I'm looking like, ain't this pretty much the Green Lantern story? Could it be the Green Lantern story just not that interesting? I'm
Maybe.
sorry,
You know
people.
what?
That maybe if this same movie would have came out now, it probably would work better because we was ready for all the space travel and all the other stuff. But I mean, people was complaining about the suit being CGI, the stuff like the Hot Wheel track. But I'm like, that's in line with the damn character. You know, the character's just not all that.
I think
my opinion.
Well, like I think that's what it comes down to is like none of the characters in this movie are all that memorable. You know,
Parallax is my boy.
Like I spent the whole movie trying to remember what the one Green Lantern that looked kind of like a fish, you know, kind of got a, you know, like I can never remember his name. I'm like,
Fish man.
you know, his name is Tomar Ray, and I'm like, why did I spend this whole movie trying to remember your name? You're barely in this movie. You don't matter.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it's
he's
because
oh yeah, I guess I do resemble a fish or something you guys call a fish or some shit.
yeah, you know, and I'm like, because it was he was one of the most visually interesting things about this movie, and I knew his name.
Yeah, I like Kilowog. I like Sinestro.
Yeah.
It's like I like the Green Lantern Corps, and I like some of the little training montage, and I like the sound effects when they make the constructs.
Yeah.
It's technically good.
Yeah.
You know, it's just the villain. The villain is bad. They should have and I actually thought Hector Hammond made a cool villain. He just, I mean, for an origin movie, because you don't need to fight your main best villain right away.
But like also one of the biggest problems with a villain like Parallax is kind of the same thing as, you know, Galactus in Silver Surfer. It's just a malevolent force. It's not really a villain. It's like you turn the movie into a disaster movie.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, what's the difference between him using his powers to lure Parallax into the sun versus him using his powers to divert a hurricane? You know, it's like, either way, it's just, let me move this thing away from where we're at.
Yeah, so I mean, that's the thing. I feel like it wasn't a great movie, but it wasn't bad. I just feel like it was kind of boring because of narratively the villain didn't work, and I mean, but Green Lantern is not one of my favorite characters.
Agreed.
But they could have done more with the story to make it a more interesting movie. Yeah. But technically, it's real good, man. It's solid technically.
It's a very well-made movie.
So
I did fall asleep though.
I fell asleep too. I just felt like I was tired though. I was kind of tired, but I did fall asleep.
Yeah.
But it's not that good of a it's not that good of a narratively of a movie.
Yeah, the story is bad. I'm sorry. The story is boring.
But it played like every other origin story, right? Introduce the characters, get the powers. I don't want the powers. Now I need the powers. I find the courage at the end, beat the villain. Blueprint, cut and dry, blueprint for an origin superhero movie.
The problem is it's just the blueprint.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Like,
it's just the blueprint and then cut, it's a wrap.
Like, usually, like, you need to toss some flavor on top of it, put a spin on it. They didn't do none of that. They said, no, the blueprint says he has to get the powers here. He has to try to get rid of them.
And this was going to be the beginning of the universe. Yeah. I wish there was a better movie, though, because I really actually like I said, technically I like it, and I like that they're not going to over-explain everything. Yeah. And it could have been a fun movie if they kind of would have stayed on the Green Lantern core stuff opposed to they life as which is his life is Hal Jordan and his girlfriend. And I don't care about all that. And I get tired of those in movies where they try to force drama in these movies too much. That was my problem with the Spider-Man, where they try to force too much of his personal drama. Let's get the story. Let's get what's going on with the villain. Let's just follow that. Let's follow the plot of stopping the villain.
Well, because also
and get back to a little personal
with
stuff.
Characters like this, you have an advantage there in that they don't have that much drama in their lives. Like he's got a chick who's mad at him, but he did his job already, so he's free and clear. You know, you could just have this whole thing take place off of Earth, and then like in the movie with him coming back and this chick is mad at him.
Yeah, he ain't even had that much of a complicated life. But anyway, we can go ahead and wrap it up. This was it was a okay movie. It wasn't the worst. Like I said, it's narratively it had definitely a lot of problems. Technically, I actually liked the stuff they was doing, and I really wish they could expand on it. Like instead of using the Snyderverse, I wonder if they would expand it on this universe. Just curious what they would have done, but whatever.
But then we'd never get Dr. Savannah.
What that you talking about from the
Shazam.
Yeah, that was just them trying to piggyback on the Snyderverse.
Yeah.
Unless I like the Snyderverse, you can say it's all in the same universe for real. But anyway, whatever. That is our review for the Green Lantern. I guess I didn't give it a rating.
It's all right. It's all right.
Yeah, you know what? I give it all right. I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
You know, like everybody act like it's so bad. It's not bad. It's
Like,
not good, but it's
like-
not bad.
Kind of the thing that I keep getting into it with Will on. It's like being forgettable does not make a movie worse.
Yeah,
This is kind of a forgettable movie.
it is. But like I said, technically,
But
I
it's
really
not-
like it.
Yeah, it's not poorly made, and
Yeah.
that's my biggest takeaway rewatching it. And I didn't get it the first time I watched it. This movie is actually really well made. The way it's shot, the way they do the effects, it's all technically spot on.
Yeah.
The writing just isn't there.
Motherfucker. Sorry. All right. Yeah, that is our that's our review for Green Lantern. We're gonna switch gears. We're gonna move to another